G-Roll Electronic Productions, baby.
Welcome to Democratic Republics, where we cover the real news that matters to we the people. Fauci said amount of virus in breakthrough Delta cases almost identical to unvaccinated. And we also have another article we're going to go over that discusses Pfizer versus the placebo. We know that basically there was no statistical difference in deaths, but we'll get into that after this article. Anthony Fauci, President Biden's chief medical advisor, on Sunday discussed new Centers for Disease Control and Prevention data that showed the levels of coronavirus in breakthrough cases of the Delta variant among those who are fully vaccinated are almost identical to the levels seen among unvaccinated individuals. Again, I say time and time again, if the vaccine is pretty much the same, what is the point of taking it then? But appearing on CBS Face the Nation, Fauci stressed that the majority of breakthrough cases involving the Delta variant saw minimal symptoms or no symptoms at all. Guest host John Dickerson asked Fauci what the CDC's reasoning was for recommending masks be worn by both vaccinated and unvaccinated people. Quote, "What we learned that's new, John, in an answer to your question, is that when you look at the levels of virus in the nasopharynx, however you pronounce that, of people who are vaccinated who get breakthrough infections, it's really quite high and equivalent to levels of the virus in the nasopharynx of unvaccinated people who get infected," Fauci said. The nasopharynx, or however you pronounce that, is part of the nasal cavity located above the back of the throat. Fauci stated that it was troubling to find that the level of virus from the Delta variant in both vaccinated and unvaccinated people is really quite similar, almost identical. According to Fauci, these findings differ from what was observed in cases involving the previously dominated Alpha variant. Quote, "So we know that the vaccinated people who get breakthrough infections can spread the virus to other people," Fauci said. The fundamental basis for the CDC modifying their guidelines and saying now, it quote, "If you're in an area of high or substantial trend of level of virus, namely a red or orange zone, when you're in an indoor public setting, you need to wear a mask." That's the fundamental reason for that. And you know, we have studies that show that these cloth masks do absolutely nothing, and I have the studies to prove it. And this whole thing is crazy. They base wearing masks again. I did a report on it before. It's based on a peer-reviewed study that said we need to mask back up. But the peer-reviewed study that said this was actually it failed peer review. So they're basing all of this information on a failed peer-reviewed study. But this is interesting here. The Twitter suspends, this is from Zero Hedge, Twitter suspends science writer after he posts results of Fiber clinical tests. And this was Pfizer's own test here. And it's very interesting. They compared the people that died that took the jab compared to people that took the placebo, and it's basically no difference. But according to Zero Hedge, it says, just yesterday we discussed the censoring of the commentator by Twitter for merely expressing an opinion over the need for a pause on any federal mandates on COVID-19 as new researchers study. Now, a former New York Times science reporter, Alex Berenson, has been suspended for simply quoting the results from a clinical trial by Pfizer and raising questions over any vaccine mandate. So you can't even post their own studies without being censored. And they said it's like it's taken out of context or whatever. It's not taken out of context. All he did is state fact. You can't even state facts now. Now when you state facts, they're saying you have to put it in context now. In the meantime, the White House accused both the Washington Post and New York Times of irresponsible reporting on COVID, but surprisingly, Twitter has not suspended these accounts. Of course, they won't suspend the Washington Post or New York Times. It is the license of the censor. Twitter is unwilling to let people read or discuss viewpoints that it disagrees with as a corporation. Many on the left, however, have embraced the concept of corporate speech censorship. Yeah, until they start coming after you. You don't understand. First, they'll take away our speech that people that they don't have the same opinions with, and then they'll start coming after your speech. They fail to realize that. It turns out that the people with censorship for many was the failure to censor views that they oppose. With the right censors at work, the free speech concerns have been set aside. I have little ability to judge the science on such questions. Well, I have the ability to judge science on these questions, of course, because I have a background in advanced statistics. However, I welcome the debate, yet rather than answer such critics and refute their arguments, many people focus on silencing anyone with dissenting viewpoints like Berenson. Berenson has been effectively confined to Substack by big tech due to discussing dissenting views on science surrounding COVID-19. His latest offense against big tech came when he posted the results posted by Pfizer of its own clinical data. He claimed that the research showed little difference in morality between those in the trial with the vaccine and those given a placebo. I don't think they meant morality there. I think they meant something else. But and here's the tweet right here that they took down. We understand that during times of crisis and instability, it's difficult to know what to do to keep yourself and your loved ones safe. Under this policy, we require the removal of content that may pose risks to people's health, including content that goes directly against guidance from authoritative sources of global and local health information. For more information on COVID, as well as the guidance from leading global health authorities, please refer to this. And this is what he posted here that they didn't like. But the thing is, he actually linked to the actual data. He posted what the data showed and actually linked to it. But he said the pivotal clinical trial for Pfizer, the COVID vaccine, showed it does not reduce the overall risk of death. And again, this is what I was alluded to earlier. Is 0. So 15 patients who received the vaccine, they got the jab. 15 of these patients died. Now this is Pfizer own data. 15 that received the jab still died of COVID, and 14 who received the placebo died. So that means there was no statistical difference. You cannot argue with the data. You cannot argue with, this is Pfizer own data. So it showed no statistical difference between the patients that took the jab and died of COVID, the 15 and the 14 who took the placebo and died from the COVID. So that I mean zero difference. So you don't understand, like in statistics, that's basically, I mean, you rarely get something like this where it's actually zero statistical significance. That rarely happens in statistics. Let me let you guys know, as someone who studies statistics. Alex has confirmed that Twitter initially tagged the post with the warning. Then they removed the tag after Berenson posted the following tweet pointing out Twitter's removal. So he showed that, I mean, he quoted an actual study. It's crazy. This is Berenson's third lock in 2 weeks, and it's for a full week, which we believe is the final step before permanent ban. See, this is why I don't really care for Twitter. I just post my videos every once in a while. You know, I'm not a big Twitter person. I'm not on there fighting people on the left because I could care less if they believe in what I say or not. I just report the truth. So I can care less about Twitter. But the article goes on to say, in the meantime, the White House sent out an all caps condemnation for completely irresponsible reporting on the infliction of vaccinated people, according to another study. Ben Wakanda, Deputy Director of Strategic Communications and Engagement for the White House, blasted the Washington Post over his headline about a study of COVID-19 outbreak in Princetown, Massachusetts on July 4th. The Post tweet read, vaccinated people made up of 3/4 of those infected in a mass Massachusetts COVID-19 outbreak. Pivotal CDC study finds. See, they get mad when you report what's really going on. You can't report the truth. Wakanda responded, completely irresponsible. How is that irresponsible by reporting what happened? 3 days ago, the CDC made clear that vaccinated individuals represent a very small amount of transmission occurring around the country. Virtually all hospitalization deaths continue to be among the unvaccinated. Unreal to not report that in context. No, you actually reporting it wrong. We just showed the Pfizer own reports right there that 14 people that took the jab still passed away. 15 people still passed away. Wakanda addressed the same issue with the New York Times, tweeting, stating, "Breaking news: the Delta variant is as contagious as chickenpox and may spread by vaccinated people as easily as unvaccinated." And this is fact. This is fact. An internal CDC report said that sent Wakanda into on cast. Vaccinated people do not transmit the virus at the same rate as unvaccinated people, and if you fail to include that context, you're doing it wrong. No, you're doing it wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Well, I mean, it's crazy. Now all three posters, Berenson, the Post, and the Times, were citing studies. I mean, these are the actual studies, and accused on not putting them into context. However, only Berenson was suspended. Of course, they're not going to suspend the Post or the Times. Obviously, none of these posters should be suspended, and Twitter should not be enforcing one of the largest censorship programs in history. However, the silence of free speech supports academics and journalists to this hypocrisy of deafening. The rise of corporate censors and combined with the heavily pro-Biden media to create the fear of de facto state media that controls information due to a shared ideology rather than state coercion. That concern has been magnified by demands from Democratic leaders for increased censorship, including censoring political speech, and now word that the Biden administration has routinely been flagging material to be censored by Facebook. And we did a report on that, how they're basically flagging the Biden administration is telling them what to censor. So this is fascism. This is fascism. Susan Byman said COVID is still not proven to exist at all. Oh, yeah. I don't know about that. I believe it exists, but I don't believe it's as bad as they make it out to be. And we definitely know that the jab doesn't work like they say it's supposed, like it says it does. Actually, they lowered the efficacy of the actual jab. We live in Soviet Union. Absolutely. I like that. The Soviet Union. I'm going to steal that, Susan. I'll give you credit, though, but I like that. The Soviet Union. The article goes on to say that the alternative is internet originalism. No censorship. I would love that. I would love to go back to how the internet used to be. I remember what YouTube used to be before Google took over. YouTube was like the Wild West. You could find all types of good information and documentaries. There was a bunch of crap on there also, but you use your own discernment and research yourself. Let's see. They not isolated the virus. You can steal anything, love. Yeah. Let's see. If social media companies return to their original roles, there will be no slippery slope of political bias or opportunism. That's true. They would assume that the same status as telephone companies. We do not need companies to protect us from harmful and misleading thoughts. The solution to bad speech is more speech, not approved speech. And that's true. But I believe it's going to get tighter and tighter. Call me Suze. Name too long. Thanks, Suze. And thanks for your input. Let's see, the last little bit. Twitter serves the same communication function between consenting parties. It simply allows thousands of people to participate in such digital exchanges. Those people do not sign up to exchange thoughts, only to have Dorsey or some other internet overlord monitor their conversation and protect them from errant or harmful thoughts. And now they're even censoring your text messages now. So if you text anything of opinion to anyone, they can delete that text and not send that text. So sorry, my screen is cracking, so spelling mistakes happen. No problem, Suze. Howdy, thank you for your info. Thanks, TK. And check out the rest of my videos too, and share this out. Share this out, please, on all the platforms, because this information need to be put out there. They need to know that the jab is not working like they said it's going to work, and people are actually dying again from Pfizer's own study, their own report. 15 people that got jabbed died from COVID, and the placebo people, 14 of them died from COVID. So that's basically like, again, it's zero statistical significance between getting the jab and not getting the jab. I mean, that's just science. I'm probably gonna get censored for this. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm still gonna report the truth. But it was no statistical difference in the Pfizer jab. But share this out and check out the t-shirts, the new t-shirts that I got. I will not comply t-shirts. It's in the link is in the description. Well, it will be in the description. I didn't put it in there yet. I'll put it in there when I get off. But check out the link in the description for the I will not comply t-shirts. Like, share, and subscribe. And also on Patreon, I got some killer exclusive content on Patreon. So sign up for the Patreon and check out the exclusive. Last night I did like I think I did like almost 2 hours of talking about Thomas Sowell. He's one of my favorite economists and philosophers. I did like almost a 2 hour thing on him, and commentated on an interview about Thomas Sowell, and I also did some news. So that's just pretty good. So check that out, the Patreon, and go to democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Until next time.